Hi, Debbie. Lovely to have you joining me today. Can I ask how you first got involved in sports psychology?
I think it's just because I've always loved sport. So I grew up playing sport, particularly netball, and then I got into shooting, which I still do now competitively. And then I had two boys and watched them go through sport and looked at coaches and saw parents, all that interaction. And I think I just got to a point where I thought that I want to take my career a bit further. So I'd already studied psychology because I was a physiotherapist, and I studied psychology to support my physio because I was working with brain injury. And I think as the sort of years progressed, I decided I wanted to go into some sort of applied psychology route, but not clinical, but sort of thought I'd use my passion for sport. So that's how I ended up, really.
Yeah, so it felt natural.
Yeah, just a
Great.
natural progression.
Yeah. Would you have any advice or any thoughts to that you say to any girls or women wanting to get involved in this kind of arena?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things, it's opening up now. There's a lot of women going into sports psychology. And I think it's like any sort of career. If you really want to do it, just look into it, follow your passion. There's no reason why you can't do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And how did you become involved with Jersey Bulls FC?
Well, actually, Russ just contacted me really and said, we're a new club and we're looking at sort of building it up and would like some sports psychology input. So I was very lucky in a way that he came to me, and we've just started working with the team as it started to develop.
Brilliant. So you've been involved since the start.
Yeah, so I came in around September at the beginning of the season. Obviously, we've had COVID last year, so it's only been for a few months, but it's just nice to start actually getting into the club and getting the players to meet me.
Yeah, fantastic. And is it, what's it like to work in kind of a male-dominated sports arena? Is it different? And have you, I hope, had positive experiences?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been really positive. I think it would be right to say I'm aware that, I'm a female coming into a male sport. But I suppose I've been lucky because my background is shooting and full bore rifle. It's mainly or predominantly male shooters, particularly in Jersey. So I'm quite comfortable being around men in sport. And I think the thing that brings you together is the sport. And so hopefully you get to the point that because you've got that shared interest, the gender bit falls away. And I think it's just working together and being part of that. So no, I've been made to feel very welcome. And so no, it's been a pleasure to work with them.
Great. And you talked about COVID, and obviously we've had quite an impact on this season and last season. Have you noticed any sort of wider impacts, not just in football, but perhaps in any other sports that you're involved with?
Yeah, I mean, certainly, I've been working with some clients on an individual basis, just trying to get them to manage this period of time when they're not playing their sport, particularly for young athletes. It's been quite challenging for them. But, what I've been saying to them and what you say to other people is we're all in a similar situation. So as frustrating as it is for Jersey Bulls, it's been the same in other sports and in other football clubs. So, to a certain extent, I guess we have to take some acceptance and from that we're not unique. It's not a unique situation, and really just use this time in a different way. But it looks like we'll be back to sport quite soon now, so hopefully the worst is behind us.
And with that, I guess going into a new season where we've been sort of denied the promotions that we were sort of anticipating over the last couple of seasons, will that bring up any new challenges for yourself and for the players? Do you have a plan of
Yeah.
how to approach it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's a really good point. And I think until we get back into training, we're not going to be able to really assess how the players feel. So I'm trying to be just very open-minded at this point, and we'll wait till we get back in and see what the coaches are picking up, see how the players are feeling. And then, if we need to put in a program to support them in whatever way we feel is best, because I think if it comes from the players themselves, it'll have more meaning for them rather than me trying to second guess what the issues might be or may not be. I think initially they'll just be pleased to be back on the pitch. So yeah, I think it's just being open-minded and listening and seeing what's going to happen.
Great. And do you have any, I guess, hopes and ambitions for your own career?
Well, yes, I'm almost at the end of my training now, so that would just be nice to finish the PhD. I think the main thing is just what I would hope is that people see sports psychology as not something that you use when things are going wrong, that it should be there as part of the performance program, because you have the coaches, you've got your nutritionists, and sports psychology is really just looking at the behavior of sports people. And so there is a well-being component to it, but I think a lot of people think they should only come and see a sports psychologist when something goes wrong. And I think that was something we were very keen with Bulls to do, that things aren't going wrong, they're going well, and this is a good time to introduce sports psychology so that I'm not seen to only be brought in if things don't go well. So I think for my own career, it's really just getting that message out there, and really just hoping to work with more clients as we, as an island, I think, get to understand the nature of sports psychology and how it works.
Great. And with International Women's Day in mind, do you have
Mm.
any thoughts or comments about what it's trying to achieve?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, that one. I was sort of looking up the history of it, and I think it started in the early 20th century. And, I think we've come a long way, which is great. So I have mixed feelings. I think there probably is still a place, particularly for some cultures and for some women, to have role models. And I can see that International Women's Day would provide that platform for some girls and women. But I also hope that we get to a point where we can just start to respect people for who they are, that we perhaps don't always have to flag up the needs of women or the needs of men, that we can just be respectful as a society. But I don't think every society is there yet. So I suppose I'm a bit ambivalent. In some ways, do we have to have an International Women's Day? But on the other hand, I think there are cultures and societies that probably benefit from this. So I can see why it's still there.
Brilliant. That's great. Thank you so much.
No, thank you very much.